everyone. Welcome to Donna's Happy Hour. I want to thank you for joining me. Today I have Owen Walsh joining me. He is a singer-songwriter who grew up here in the Honesdale, PA area. And he started playing the violin and then progressed to guitar. I have to tell you, I really, really like his music. So, grab your drinks, whatever they may be, because I'm hoping you'll spend the next hour with me.
Hi folks, my name is Owen Walsh. I'm a musician in Wayne County, Pennsylvania, and I'm going to be playing some songs of mine for you. This first song is something I wrote a number of years ago, back when I was in college, and it's called Well, Well, Hey, Hey, Bye, Bye. Well, I'm going to the station, hopping on a train, leave behind the place where my heart will remain. Well, well, hey, hey, bye-bye. Now I'm going to the ocean, taking a dive in. Don't really care if I'll be surviving. Well, well, hey, hey, bye, bye, bye. Well, a hole in the wall, I walk in, get my fill. Think of ways to tell myself I don't love you still. Well, well, hey, hey, bye, bye. Well, I do not need your reasons. They're always all the same. They sound like someone else's name. Oh, well, I love you, baby, Lord knows that I do. What's with all the heartbreak you've been putting me through? Well, well, hey, hey, bye, bye, bye. All right. Well, you can give your love a new diamond pendant. Should take your mind, I don't lie the way that you spend it. Well, well, hey, hey, bye, bye. Yeah, you can give your girl your heart and her hands. Keep an eye on the other, she could have another man. Well, well, hey, hey, bye, bye. Well, you can give your girl all that you got to give. She still says something by the way that you live. Well, well, hey, hey, bye, bye. Well, well, hey, hey, bye, bye, bye.
Well, I really want to thank you, Owen. Let me start by saying that. And to the audience, Owen Walsh is actually, this is his first appearance on my show. And I met Owen in Honesdale
Right.
at the Fall Festival. And honestly, he wasn't even playing at that point. But I walked by him and I had a really good feeling. And I said, I'm going to give this gentleman my card and find out if he does original music, which I was happy to hear that you do.
Yeah.
And I have to tell them also, I've already heard him play. You are going to love him. Owen, so let's get to um, you're born and raised in Pennsylvania.
Right. Yep. Honesdale, Pennsylvania.
Okay, Honesdale. And were you raised in a musical family?
I would say so.
Okay.
Well, I guess a little yes, a little no, because neither of my
Okay.
parents are musicians per se.
Okay.
But I have two older sisters. One is 5 years older than me, and the middle child is 3 years older than me.
Okay.
And when the oldest was about 8, and like 5 and 3 were the ages. I was 3.
Okay.
My parents decided, like, for the sisters, that they were going to get them music lessons
Okay.
for different instruments. And so they kind
Mm,
of like got some CDs, played some classical music, some more contemporary stuff, and just had us listen to it
okay.
and like pick what instrument like kind of intrigued them the most that they were hearing. And then that's the instrument that they would like take lessons with.
Okay.
And as a 3-year-old, kind of the only thing that's small enough for a little 3-year-old hand to actually play is the violin. So I
Wow.
started taking violin lessons
Oh,
when,
interesting.
yeah, the oldest sister wanted to play cello, the middle
Right.
sister wanted to play piano. And then,
Okay.
I think I did like the sound of the violin too, but it was also
Mm,
like almost one of the only options at such a young
right.
age.
Right. Right.
So I was
Mm,
like surrounded by music very early
very,
on.
very early on.
Yeah.
Wow. And how long did you play the violin for?
I took like you know um, formal lessons with the violin until I was about in like late middle school, like right before I got to high school. So
Oh, wow. So quite a long
yeah,
time.
I stuck with it. And the
Okay.
kind of ironic thing is, my sisters were the reason I started playing the violin because I just kind of didn't want to be left out.
Right.
And like most kids, they took lessons for a couple of years or so, and then it kind of
And then
faded away. But
right.
with me, it just,
It
yeah,
stuck.
yeah, it just stuck.
It's interesting because when I was listening to you, I had a feeling that you had some, you know, actual background
Mm,
and lessons.
right.
Um, and, it's evident in your playing,
Uh,
especially the guitar. As I told you, I really like your guitar playing.
Yeah, I
And so
appreciate it.
now I
Thank you.
know why,
Yeah.
because you were a violin player. Do you do you feel that having that formal education made a difference?
I would definitely say so because, well, first I'll also just explain that, kind of how I made the transition from violin to guitar was, so my dad, he played guitar as a kid and like kind of gave it up in like around college, but he still had this old dusty Epiphone acoustic guitar, like, in a closet somewhere that was just kind of buried underneath stuff. And like I said, I kind of stopped doing violin around middle school. And at that same time, I like must have just been digging through the closet and pulled out this old guitar. And it was just kind of intrigued me. And because I had been taking, lessons for so many years on violin, I was able to kind of open up some old, Simon and Garfunkel songbooks that were in the guitar case. And
Oh,
like,
wow.
since I already knew how to read the music,
Right.
I was able to kind of transfer, oh, so this is how you play, an F sharp on the guitar because this is how you did it on violin. I kind of just
Right.
transposed it all from what I knew from violin. So,
Okay.
for a long time, I never took formal guitar lessons, but
Right.
because of having that violin training, it was, very
Made it
helpful.
easier for you to
Definitely.
transition.
Yeah.
Is there a big difference? Because I never realized that
Mhm.
between violin and playing. I think in my mind, oh, well, if you can play one kind of string instrument,
Mhm.
that you should be able to play another.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work that way, maybe?
Yeah, it probably doesn't always work that way. I think
Okay.
going from violin to guitar is probably like probably the going if you're a guitar player trying to learn violin, that's going to be harder
Okay.
because, guitar you're used to having the frets, so like
Right.
there's very specific places to put your fingers and, you're playing more chords and strumming where violin, there's no frets on the, fingerboard. You just kind of have
Right.
to have the ear to know what's in tune. So it's kind of violin will be like a trickier
A
thing to
trickier
go.
thing.
Yeah, but in my experience, yeah, like having
Right.
that baseline violin
makes it, when I pick up another instrument that I'm not as familiar with, as long as it has strings, I'm like, can kind of find my way around it for
Right.
sure.
How about playing a mandolin? Have you ever done that?
I do have a
Oh, you
mandolin that
do? Okay,
my girl.
that I was gonna say that would be an interesting thing to see you
Yeah,
play.
yeah. My girlfriend got that for me as a gift a couple of years ago, and I actually just in the past couple of weeks have been like trying to really get my chops up on it
Uh-huh.
because hopefully this album that I'm in the process of
Process of
making,
doing.
there's a lot. It has a lot of kind of that folky kind of a little not so much mainstream modern country music, but kind of old school
Mhm.
like Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson type
Mhm.
country
Mhm.
songs on it that I think a mandolin would sound nice on. So I've
Yeah.
been kind of trying to get my chops up on
Yeah,
it.
yeah. No, that sounds great. Yeah, I
Yeah.
have a friend that plays a mandolin. I really like a mandolin. I
Yeah.
don't know, to me, um, it just adds a different dimension,
Mhm.
especially even in a group, to
Yeah.
me, it really adds a different dimension to what you're listening to.
All right, this next song is something that's a little bit newer. I'm actually working on a my first full-length album right now, and this is one of the songs that's going to be on the album once it finally comes out.
Is Paris burning? Is London falling? Is New York City underneath the waves? Out in the country, there's no Superman. I don't care about who he saves. Your mother's Sunday dress torn at the bottom. Your father's suitcase dusty and worn. You are so close to your passion and so far from where you were born. I'm calling out to you from the wilderness. Hope you can hear me over all them cars. NYC, do you feel the same emptiness that I feel here alone with the stars? I've been thinking maybe I'll call you, maybe I'll surprise you at your door. But you hate surprises and I lost your number. Guess I don't know what I'm thinking that for. Sometimes love is like the sunrise, burning colorful and fast. Our love was more like the dusk before nightfall. Sometimes such beauty just can't last. Tonight as you go walk along 6th Avenue, go on and lay in the bed that you made. You were always gonna do what you wanted to, but lately I've been dreaming that you stayed.
There's for people who live either in certain parts of Wayne County, Pennsylvania, or Sullivan County, New York, there's a bridge that connects the two places. I think most commonly known as the Skinner's Falls Bridge. Some people call it the Milanville Bridge, but About a year ago, I heard some old timer in Wayne County talking about that bridge because it's always under construction and there's always different debates about what should happen to it. And he referred to it as the Black Horse Bridge, which I'd never heard the term before. And I guess it comes from there used to be this tavern over on the Sullivan County side called the Black Horse Tavern. So just the term Black Horse Bridge kind of made me go home and start writing this song.
Woke up this morning and looked up high. Saw a death letter written in the sky. Saw my name underlined in red, and I knew right away that I was dead. Went to the river, it was boiling dry. A bad place to live, the worst place to die. And I saw smoke where the water once ran, and I saw ghosts where I once saw man. Lord, if you take me, don't do it today. I'll follow you down, you know that I won't run away. It's just that I don't want to die up here on Breckenridge. Lord, if I'm going down, going away to town and die beneath the Black Horse Bridge. Lord, if you take me, don't do it today. I'll follow you down, you know that I won't run away. It's just that I don't want to die up here on Breckenridge. Lord, if I'm going down, going away to town and die beneath the Black Horse Bridge.
I want to ask about like so your mother and father, they obviously liked music, but your father played an instrument at one time.
Right.
And how about grandparents? Were they musically inclined?
I think, everybody in my family has like a very, kind of deep passion for music, a love
Okay.
of music. But not a lot of them are musicians per se.
Okay.
I do have one uncle on my mother's side who is a percussionist, and he was
Okay.
like classically trained and very kind of virtuosic on like the drum set and different like different percussion instruments that like names
Right.
I've like never even heard of. Kind of very exotic sounding things. But
Oh,
you know, but yeah, as far as like grandparents and my both of my parents go, it's just like they have a wide musical knowledge of like a lot of different catalogs and genres
right.
that they exposed us to as kids
And
growing up.
obviously, yeah, that they
Yeah,
had you at 3 years old.
yeah,
Which I think is wonderful, honestly. It's interesting because my father had a very good singing voice,
hmm
but of course he pretty much got his training in the church in the choir.
right,
Um, my mother liked music, but
Mm-hmm.
she never sang. She
Right.
really wasn't a singer, and she never played an instrument, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So for me, us growing up, my father was more the influence than
Right.
my mother,
Sure.
and I never played an instrument. I always wanted to,
Mm-hmm.
but um, I was doing dancing. Dancing was my thing.
Right.
So, but now I actually play the cajon.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, I took my dance back, because
Mm-hmm.
I was always used to listening to music,
Yeah.
and I said, well, what could I transfer that
Mm-hmm.
to?
Right.
And the cajon or even bongos,
Mm-hmm.
something like seemed the most logical.
Right.
As you said, going from the violin to the guitar
Yeah.
was the transition, and so that's what I did. So it's been very interesting because at least I feel like I'm fulfilling some sort of need and want
Yeah.
because I've always loved music.
Mm-hmm.
I started dancing at 5 years old,
Right.
and so and I carried that. I was still dancing professionally till in my early 30s.
Wow.
So yeah, I went for a very long time
Yeah.
with my dancing. But yeah, so it's I always find it fascinating to find out how people got started
Yeah.
playing their instrument. Did they come from a family that was musical?
Mm-hmm.
And did they have a family that kind of supported
Yeah.
their dreams? Because you do hear the flip side to that, where
Mm-hmm.
you know, and it's not so much now as before, but um, going years back, um, if you said, to your father, well, I want to be, I want to play the guitar for the,
Yeah.
they'd be like, no, you need to get a real job. And so you do see the change of attitude
Yeah.
from the parents, and that's where it really does help.
And
Um,
I think
you
it's
know,
funny with me in particular because, or just when I think of that, I particularly find it funny because I've had moments with my parents where it's almost the opposite of the cliche that you always think about, like in movies, of the parents saying you need to go get a real job. Like I remember once in some high school, they have career days. Career speakers
right,
come in, and just a state trooper had come in this one day and was just talking about how it's like this very sensible, you know, uh, you know, path to follow is, you
right,
can study whatever you want to in college, and then you go to the police academy, and whatever is just like kind of a safe bet. And I
right,
remember coming home and talking to my mom, saying, maybe I'll could like try to be a state trooper because he was saying you can study whatever you want. It's like a safe thing. You have a never have to worry about like keeping a job. You always have it. And
right.
not that she has anything against police, but she was like, this was just as I was kind of
No,
starting.
stick with your guitar.
I was just starting to get passionate about the music now,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, she was saying like, you're not gonna just go and like be a state trooper sitting on the highway waiting for speeders to come by. Like you have to go and like keep writing songs. You have to go see what this leads to. So I kind of had the opposite of,
Wow. Wow.
don't just take the boring path. Like
Right,
actually,
right, right.
see
Yeah,
where this leads.
don't take the path of knowing that you're going to have a paycheck,
Right.
which obviously she saw the talent in you, because if let's say you had a child that wasn't very talented,
Right.
you wouldn't want to really necessarily say that to them. One of the things I do want to tell the audience is that Owen has a EP out called Change. Now, he did say that he's making a few changes to change for his album, but either way, it was really good.
Oh, thank you.
And he also has an EP out called O and Company, and that's with his band,
Right.
correct?
Yep.
So you can check that out. Are both of those on YouTube or
Yeah, kind of all the streaming
streaming
platforms.
platforms?
Yeah,
Okay.
YouTube, iTunes, Spotify.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of pretty much anywhere you listen to music, you can probably find it.
Okay. And he also is, as he said, working on an album that's going to hopefully come out in December.
Yeah, that's the
And
plan.
you did mention the name, but I forgot what it was. What is the
Yeah,
name?
so the tentative name right now is
Okay.
called On My Way,
On My Way. Okay.
which is, I guess, like most people, unless you know me well, you wouldn't catch what the little kind of play on words is. But my initials, Owen Michael Walsh, is
Right.
OMW. So On My Way, just a
Oh,
little,
yeah, that's
a
cute.
little
That's a great
parallelism there.
idea.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm really looking forward to it because today I was really pleasantly surprised. As I said, I only got to hear you do one song when I met you on that Saturday.
Yeah.
And but I've been doing this long enough. I trust my gut instincts and I was like, I want to get this
Yeah.
this fellow on my show. So and I would love at some point, to get you with your band.
Yeah. That'd be
That would
great.
be really nice. So
Yeah.
hopefully we'll do that.
This is a song that I wrote a number of years ago that is on my first EP that I ever put out. It's the song is called Change and the EP is called Change. And I think I might actually do a new version on this album that I'm working on. So if you go check it out and don't like the EP version, there might still be hope in December.
She left me in the morning while I was sleeping. Didn't even wake me up to say goodbye. So I burned out all the memories that I've been keeping, and the smoke rose to the sky. But what's the point of crying about a lover, but to lose your voice like a hound that howls at the moon? So I slipped down from underneath my covers. I was out of bed and it wasn't even noon. And I hitched a ride that was going down to Nashville. I hear that's where the lonely guitar players like to live. If I don't make it there, I'll move to Asheville, and I'll give it whatever I got to give. The days are long and sad and strange, but they ain't always gonna be. Though you may have not foreseen the change, it just might set you free. Then I showed up into town and no one knew me. It was harder than I thought it would be to get myself a gig. Women here, they seem to look right through me, and the club owners say, come back when you get big. But whenever you open mic is an open window, every chord you play could be a chord getting pulled. You start to only sing when you feel sorrow. Well, I'm 21 and now I'm getting old. Oh, the days are long and sad and strange, but they ain't always gonna be. Though you may have not foreseen the change, it just might set you free. Days are long and sad and strange. They ain't always gonna be. Though you may have not foreseen the change, it just might set you free. It just might set you free.
So like I said, I have a new album that I'm working on right now. Hopefully it's going to be out. December 9th is the projected release date. It's going to be called On My Way, I think. I think that's going to be the title of the album. Hopefully by the time December comes, I still like that name for it. But I'll do another song off that album. It's called Somewhere Sunny.
I don't know the spell you're under, but it kinda makes me wonder if you ever let the sunlight get into your eyes. 'Cause I can't stand your darkness no more. Guess I'm heading out your front door. Gonna find my home between here and paradise. I'm going away somewhere sunny. I'm going away this afternoon. I'm gonna fly to Sunday morning, and you won't be hearing from me, baby, anytime soon. I look up at the stars so pretty, and I think it's such a pity that you cannot let things go and let yourself be free. Well, I'm getting out while the getting's good. I'm getting out while I should. I ain't gonna let you spread your stuff on me. I'm going away somewhere sunny. I'm going away this afternoon. I'm gonna fly to Sunday morning, and you won't be hearing from me, baby, anytime soon. I'm going away somewhere sunny. I'm going away this afternoon. I'm gonna fly to Sunday morning. Oh, and you won't be hearing from me, baby, anytime soon. You won't be hearing from me, baby, anytime soon.
When did you start? Like, did you ever go into having a band in high school, or?
Yeah, so I picked up my dad's old guitar and was kind of teaching myself how to play chords and kind of the strumming patterns of things. And since I was looking at these old songbooks like Simon and Garfunkel or Paul McCartney and Wings, a lot
Right.
of like 60s, 70s artists, the lyrics were all right there
Right.
because it's kind of designed to sing along to. But I'd never sung at all, like
Oh,
done
so
any
you didn't
singing.
sing at that point at all?
No,
Yeah.
and
Oh, wow.
but I guess kind of just to make sure I was playing the right chords and that the melody was matching up, I would like softly kind of sing to myself, while I was kind of teaching myself guitar. And but I was always too embarrassed to do it in front of anybody. I learned years later, that my whole family could hear me in my room. I thought I thought I was being quiet enough that, it was a secret.
That really is funny because my brother, he was, uh, he has a beautiful voice.
Hmm.
And so he had a bedroom upstairs and he started playing guitar. And of
Hmm.
course, I guess the same thing,
Yeah.
he had never really sung in front of anybody. And so he would be upstairs playing
Yep.
and singing, and we'd all be with the doors open at the base of the stairs,
Yep.
listening to him, spying on,
Yeah.
on him. And so that's so cute.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So when did you actually appear in front of an audience or
Yeah, so the first time I ever actually sang like in public was at my high school talent show.
okay.
I was a sophomore, and I went to Honesdale High School, which I think has about like 1,000 kids.
Okay.
From freshman through senior year,
Right.
and yeah, it's kind of like a big
That's a big, yeah,
yeah
that's a
to
big crowd.
yeah to
Yeah.
go from 0 to a
To
thousand right away. And
wow.
but yeah, went really well. Like I got like a good response from kind of like as soon as I finished the last note, just
Uh-huh.
like the way the applause hit me, like it was kind of like, all right, I think I might have
I
something
like this.
here.
I like this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I like the
yeah.
feeling of the
Wow.
lights on me and the
Mhm.
just the people sitting there hearing what I am singing. It was like definitely I think I have something here. And that's to answer the question about my high school band. That's kind of in the weeks after that. Some of my friends who also played music, who then were like, oh, so you can sing. So then we kind of together a little band that
Oh, wow.
we did gigs for quite a few years, and some of them I still play music with.
Oh, no.
So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Wow.
so yeah, that was definitely a formative time for me musically.
Now, when did you start writing?
Uh, I think I almost started writing like around the same time I started learning guitar and like
Oh, wow.
singing songs. Like, um, I can remember like little ditties that I don't think I ever really wrote them down, but I would just kind of sit in my room, and while I was strumming, like little melodies would kind of pop into my head, and like little bits of lyrics that you know I think it a lot of it starts from in my own experience, like so many things musically start out by I try to imitate what I'm hearing from, like the things that influence me. So like
Right.
and I find that I always start out, maybe I was trying to write something that sounded like Simon and Garfunkel, or a
Mm-hmm.
Bob Dylan song, or
Right.
Johnny Cash. Like I was trying to kind of imitate that style, and then that's always the starting point, and then it kind of just evolves into something that actually becomes like personal
Your
and
own
like
style,
yeah,
right.
my own style for sure.
Did your sisters continue to play or did they
Y-
um
yeah, they only played kind of until like maybe like 12, 13 years old. I think
okay.
the oldest sister playing cello kind of went a little bit further with it, but yeah, they just like a lot of people, like they liked it for a number of years, but it wasn't like, you
It
know,
wasn't something that they knew they
hmm
wanted to do for the rest of their life.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
definitely.
interesting. Did you find when you were young, well, so you were 3? Were you 3 when you
Yeah,
started?
when I started the violin.
Did you find that it came easily to you? Do you think you already had a natural talent for it?
I don't think right away. It wasn't so immediate that
Okay.
my very first lesson, it was like, oh, I can do this right away. But I do remember a few years into it, I may have been like, you know, maybe around like 7 or 8. So I've been doing it, for a while, but
Right.
I kind of started to pick up this ability that at the time I thought was like really novel. But now that I've been around
Doing
other
it.
musicians long enough, it's kind of like, kind of um, thing that we all share is
Okay.
just you develop the ear
The ear,
for
right.
music. So I would kind of hear my family's big on Irish music, so
Uh-huh.
I remember they wanted me to learn Danny Boy on the violin, and
Oh, wow.
I was able to just kind of listen to the melody and start playing it on the violin without like reading the notes or anything, or like I didn't need the sheet music in front of me.
Right,
And
right.
I found like that I kind of started to be able to do that pretty quickly. Like I would
Wow.
kind of hear a melody and be able to like play it right back to you,
Right
like
back.
on the violin. And then I kind of became like a little obsessed with it. Like, my
Right.
parents always talk about like when I was a little guy, just walking around the house with like the guitar almost kind of like to my chest, always just like playing it,
No kidding.
as I'm
Wow.
just like walking around, the house, going up and down the
Going up
stairs
and
and
down the
stuff.
stairs. Wow.
Yeah,
So were they surprised when you were actually starting to write your own music? Did they ever say to you, you're really doing an incredible job on your, songwriting or
yeah. They, I think, always, because I was like a little shy about it at first, and a little embarrassed about it.
uh-huh.
I think they always try to find a balance of like being encouraging to
Hmm.
tell me that it's something I should keep doing and keep harnessing the skill of, without like, bring. I think they kind of wait for me to bring it to them first, so that almost like you don't want to scare away a deer or something. Like
Right.
they didn't
Right.
want to like come into my room and say, "Hey, that sounds great," and me, kind of
And getting like
recline.
the turtle go into your shell.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly. But
yeah.
kind of once I started getting comfortable enough to, go to them and say, "Hey, I wrote this song. Would you take a listen to it?" Then they were, yeah, very encouraging, and
Wow.
yeah,
Oh,
d-
that's wonderful. Yeah.
yeah,
It helps if your family is, behind you.
definitely,
It really
yeah.
does. And it's good that they didn't push you.
Hmm.
Obviously, if it sounds like if you chose not to continue with your music, they would have been okay with that.
Yeah,
But the fact that they were okay with the fact that because let's face it, saying, you know what, I want to try to make a living at this is not an easy,
hmm.
choice or career to do,
Definitely, yeah.
as we know. So what do you do when you're not doing gigs? Do you work a full-time job or
So I'm currently a freelance writer,
oh, okay.
which I used to be a full-time reporter for a, local newspaper. I still
Okay.
do some news for them, but now I kind of, since I moved away from the area for a little bit and then came
Right.
back, and with the pandemic that we're still working through,
Right.
working remotely became kind of ubiquitous. So
Right.
um, you know I was able to do a lot of remote work for like different publications, and mostly kind of journalism stuff, but also a little
Mhm.
bit of like PR for like
Interest.
some different organizations, and so that I've kind of been able to strike a good balance of staying busy during the day with my writing, like actual
Right.
writing, and then on
Right.
weekends and on evenings, doing gigs,
Wow.
performing live. So it's,
That's great.
yeah, it's almost pretty close to like 50-50 taking up
Yeah,
my time.
that's really great because so many of my friends
Hmm.
are musicians, and I know what they have to go through to try to make a living,
Yeah,
and continue on their dream
right.
is not easy, especially as you said. Then you have the pandemic, but
Hmm.
that sounds like a really wonderful, um, you know, happy medium sort
Yeah,
of situation. Not too many people get that.
yeah. This is another song that's a little bit older. I think I started writing it when I was still a high school student, and then it kind of took a few years to all come together, but this is what it sounds like right now.
Early in the morning, I don't see the sun rising, I see clouds. And it is getting hard to be something that would make my mama proud. Rising out of bed, feeling like I already have done some wrong. Sit out on my windowsill, whistling a meaningless old song. It's been a long time since I've made a dime on this guitar. It's been even longer since I've had a dream of becoming a star. Still I'm gonna make it, though I don't know when or what or why or how. Maybe not today, not tomorrow, but some fine day coming now. So count on me in the morning, count on me any time of the day. I'm going home to Pennsylvania, but I can't go home this way. No, no. I walk in the door and lock it, sit and stare at the socket on the wall. They cut the line to my phone, so I guess that I won't know when you call. But who am I to kid? If you did, I don't know what I would say. Guess I wish I could see you, but until I do, have a very, very nice day. And count on me in the morning, count on me any time of the day. I'm going home to Pennsylvania, but I can't go home this way. No, no. I've done every kind of gig, small and big. Well, I guess not all that big. Done every kind of scheme, chased every dream, played every game that I could read. But down every road I turn, I get further from where I need to go. And the only thing I'm sure about is that there's nothing that I really know. So count on me in the morning, count on me any time of the day. I'm going home to Pennsylvania, but I can't go home this way. No, no. No, I can't go home this way. I just can't go home this way. Oh, I just can't go home this old way. I just can't go home this way.
All right, this is another song that's going to be on that album that's coming out in December, and it's I guess best described as just a song about having a bad dream.
Have you ever had a bad dream you couldn't wake up from? Walls are closing in, and you don't know how come. Life stood at the bottom of the world as it rolled over me. And I have seen God in mysterious places, seen him holding dice and rolling aces. Told me to build him a home, and then he burned it down. A nightmare sunken dreams that tear me at my seams. Have you seen what this body has done to me? Well, now shake it loose, man. I'm gonna rock this joint. Gonna hold to my hands and try to make a point. What if everything we don't believe is what we see in the end? Because I ain't afraid of when it all stops. And I ain't afraid of if I rise or drop. What shakes my soul is knowing that it goes on and on and on and on and on. On and on and on and on. A nightmare, sunken dreams that tear me up.
Now, how did you get involved in writing and the newspapers and all of that?
Yeah, so I was as I was getting ready to graduate from high school in Honesdale. It kind of came that time that a lot of people fear, where they have to say, okay, what am I going to do now? What am I
Right.
going to study in college? And I probably didn't pick my major for the best reasons, because I was like, all right, I definitely don't like my science classes. I definitely don't like doing math.
Right.
But my English classes like have always been something that I like don't feel uncomfortable in. Like it feels like I kind of know what to do with like
Know what
these
to do with it.
assignments that I get.
Okay.
So I actually majored in journalism at Ithaca
Oh, you
College,
did. Okay.
and minored in music. So
Okay.
kind of still had
Right.
both
Still had, yeah,
worlds.
yeah, perfect.
And I probably not a great reason to pick a major, is just it's like the least of the evils of like, all right, at least it's not math and science, I'll just be writing. But
But it was something that you already felt comfortable with. And
yeah,
actually, that's not a bad way to do it.
what
I mean,
yeah, and it was kind of a good thing, where as I started taking the actual journalism class and learning about newspapers and kind of the role of the press, I actually became more passionate about it as I learned more about it. So
mhm.
I kind of fell into it, and it worked out.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. So now let's just go back to, so you do you play just in like this area, or do you go to New Jersey? Do you go to New York?
Yeah,
How far do you go when playing your, gigs?
I'll go pretty far. Typically, like I actually just the past weekend was playing in New Jersey. I did,
Oh,
um, and I'm kind of in a phase of my musical career where I'm like trying to transition a little bit, because I started doing gigs in high school. That's actually a little bit of a story too, where it's time like to get a job, like a high school job. My parents were thinking, go bag groceries or pump gas, like the typical stuff.
right,
And I
right.
was able to talk them into, I think if I perform enough gigs, I'd be able to make as much money
As
as I
much
would
money.
at one of those jobs.
Right.
So that's kind of where it all started, and I've been gigging ever since.
Oh, wow.
And the typical kind of gig I would get, and that I've been doing for so many years, is like doing cover music, performing other musicians' songs,
Right.
and I'll kind of sprinkle in my own original music, where it's
Through, right,
appropriate,
right.
but mostly just singing cover songs.
Okay.
So yeah, I've kind of gone a lot of places with that. Like I was just performing at a wedding in New Jersey,
Okay.
a wedding reception where they had like specific songs that they wanted to hear, and then
Hmm.
the next day I was in Little Falls, New Jersey.
Oh, wow.
The first one was in I think Sussex County, and
Okay.
then spent the night. Then did another gig in Little Falls, same kind of thing. Like this was at like
Right.
a restaurant tavern place, but still doing mostly like 3 hours of cover music with a few originals thrown in.
Right.
And
Right.
what I'm kind of hoping to do now that I'm like making this album and kind of figuring out my next steps is like start trying to get more gigs where I'm primarily doing my original music with maybe some covers thrown in to
Right.
kind of try to flip it so that I'm
That's
focusing more on the original songwriting.
right. That's one of the things that I see often is, people are doing gigs,
Hmm.
but most places that you go to want you to do cover music,
Yeah.
which I can understand, but on the other hand, you really want to hear if this person does original music,
Hmm.
let them do some of that.
Yeah.
And that's why I love doing what I do because it gives that person an opportunity to be seen, to be heard,
Yeah.
and hopefully, so let's go into this too. Um, if somebody is interested in getting in touch with you,
Hmm.
how do they do that? So if they like what they hear,
Yeah. Probably
okay,
the easiest way, and I actually just set this up
okay,
in the past month. I've been putting it off for a while, but I have a website now that
okay,
is owenwalshmusic.com.
okay,
So, just all, one word.
right. And just so they know, so Owen is Owen, Walsh is Walsh.
Right.
So,
Yep.
okay,
Yeah,
very
and they
good.
can, you can find my music on there, like YouTube videos, clips of my songs. You can kind of look up a calendar of where I'm going to be performing next, and
Oh, that's great.
there's a contact button. I think that's how you contact me, was you found me on the website and sent an
Yes,
email
yes,
through it.
that's exactly what I did, right?
That you're the
Yes.
because
Yep.
like I said, it's a new website, and you're the first person to actually use it. So I
Oh,
was
no
like,
kidding.
I was like happy, like, okay, it's working. Like,
I was just glad I could remember your name. I'm like,
yeah,
oh, because I gave you my card, but I
yeah,
didn't get anything. And then you said, well, just go on my website. And I was
yep,
like, okay, good.
yeah,
So that worked out. Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
very good. Okay. And what gigs do you have coming up? Where are you playing anything real local?
yeah. The probably the next upcoming thing that's the most local is in Hawley,
Oh,
which is right
yeah,
around where we are right now,
right.
and it's the Paw Pack Watering Hole, which is
Oh,
just outside downtown
sure.
Hawley,
Yes.
and the but the show that I'm like really hoping that some people come out to is going to be December 9th,
Okay.
which is the date that my album is like should be coming out on.
Oh,
And it's going to be at the Cooperage Project in Honesdale, downtown Honesdale.
I've never heard. Where
It's right on Main Street
is
in
it?
Honesdale. Yeah, it's called the Cooperage Project, and it's
Okay.
like they do a lot of different types of events there, but it's a very nice performance venue.
Is that brick building that's
Hmm.
kind of wedged in, a little set
Yeah,
back a little
yep,
bit?
yep.
Okay,
Step back a
yes.
little bit.
Oh, I'll have to. I'm glad you told me that. I'll
Yeah,
try to make it out there. What time?
7 o'clock. It
Okay.
starts December 9th. I think
Oh,
a Friday
wonderful.
evening, and yeah,
Okay.
it will kind of coincide with the release of the album, and
Yeah.
yeah, with some of the musicians who I'm making the album with.
Oh, wonderful. Well, wonderful. I'll definitely come. I'll
Great.
definitely be there. And then this way, actually, what I'll do is I'll record and,
Mm,
of course, make an announcement on Donna's Happy Hour
yeah,
on Instagram and on Facebook.
that'd be
So,
great.
again, just remember you can find him on all the major Spotify and
Hmm.
so forth and so on, and also on YouTube,
On YouTube.
right?
Yep.
Okay, great, great. Um, so the other thing that I want to tell the audience, which I did already tell you, is that I plan on starting house concerts in the spring and the summer.
Hmm.
And so you'll be getting a whole different view of Donna's Happy Hour. Still going to be very happy, but we're really looking forward to it. Well,
Exactly.
Owen, thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
And I really look forward to having you at the summer concerts.
Yeah,
I will see you on December 9th. I'm going to
great.
write it on my calendar. Anyway, I want to say goodbye to everybody. Thank you and see you soon.